The only thing I own in life is my integrity. And so when you're making decisions to improve the lives of others, not everyone will agree with your decisions. I was the first person in 45 years to be hired from outside of Worcester Public Schools. So it was a very insular district. First woman and first person of color. And so that created a very new dynamic and context in the community. You know, someone said to me when I moved to Massachusetts, by the way, did we tell you that politics is an Olympic sport here? And so I knew the context of where I was headed into. I guess I have a strong will and constitution backed by a lot of faith. And I pushed on some thinking and pushed on some beliefs, because you have to believe in all of my children. Every child who comes to my school district, whether it's here in Norfolk or whether it was in Worcester or whether, you know, when I was a speech therapist, every child has value and worth. And so that's not negotiable for me. So I will fight on behalf of those children. If the superintendent is not the advocate for children and their lives, then who will be? And it means that I have to ask adults to think and work differently sometimes. But I believe with that ask, there should become a lot of support. So in Worcester, I restructured schools outside of state requirement because I could hide behind a state requirement, and soon the community would get tired of having failing schools. Or I could lead as the CEO and the instructional leader of the district and say, I have a school that needs to be restructured for success. And that success is happening. As far as the testing scandal in Norfolk, I've never understood really where that has come from. But be perfectly clear, I stand on my record here in Norfolk. I have never been part of a testing scandal. I investigated a testing situation in Norfolk and left my information as I went to Worcester. And that's very clear, and I stand by that without any hesitation. As far as the testing issue that occurred in Worcester, we had a single school with a testing issue. If you read the commissioner's letter and report on that in Massachusetts, it says it was very complimentary of the fact that I supported the investigation and was an integral part of the investigation to get at the issues that had emerged for that school. And the commissioner's final statement says, while some teachers encouraged students to do better on the test or rethink their answers, there was not evidence that answers were given. There was not evidence that this was a systemic practice. And it was not evidence that anyone had intentionally done anything wrong. The principal in that case, and I talk about it because it was a public notice, was sanctioned for failure to closely monitor the testing process because she had been administering small group testing. And so what I did, though, is corrective action for that. One, I learned that the district the principals had not had, and the district had not had, broad-based testing training in a long time. It was left to, you know, you can sign on or you can go, but it was not an expectation. So that was the first thing I put in place. The second thing that I dealt with as it related to corrective action is draw upon a corrective action plan that this district had done as I was entering the district in 2001 for another school. And what were those practices around spot checking during testing and having central office staff and administrators appear at a school and monitor, go through a series of questions to see if we saw certain practices and those things, and making sure that the position that I created in Worcester, the Chief Research and Accountability Officer who oversees testing, was monitoring very closely any reports of irregularities that had to be reported by principals, and that we followed through and investigated those. So, you know, headlines are what they are, but the facts are very different. And as I said, I was not involved in any testing scandal in Norfolk at all.